Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. For today's video, I wanted to talk to you about when two narcissists come together. What's that like? How does that work out? So let's jump in. So what's it like when you get two narcissists together, and how does that happen? Well, in the very beginning, they like to love bomb. And to be truly honest with you, a lot of people, in my opinion, kind of like to love bomb because there is an infatuation in the very beginning. I think in the very beginning, we all kind of can share. The only difference is the narcissist has a pattern of different ideas that are unhealthy and are abusive and exploitative for their own benefit, and that's all they care about. And they don't feel love, so they don't care. They don't feel the pain when they walk away from the relationship later on down the road, and they form that trauma bond. So we don't form a trauma bond, and we don't do all that constant devaluing and all that, so we aren't like in a cycle. If two empaths got together, for instance, we wouldn't be in a cycle, like a circle to nowhere. It's just, in general, I believe humanity, they tend to love bomb in the beginning because you're going to put forth your representative, is what they call it. A lot of people in society today call it the representative, which is what they would also say is your best version of yourself, right? I don't like those terms. I believe when you're saying a version, it's kind of like a mask or you're fake. But truly, that's kind of what happens. And that's because they're happy, they're infatuated, and when you're infatuated, it mimics love. But a lot of times it can turn into love. It's just the very beginning of it is not going to be love right away because it's not soon enough. But infatuation can be there. So typically, I think everybody starts off in infatuation. The problem is when infatuation starts to turn and progress into a state of love, the narcissist runs away or starts to devalue and gets you in constant devalue mode and then discards you after forming the trauma bond because they're exploitative. They plan on doing this. That's all they know, but that's what they plan on doing. And it's very destructive, and they don't care because they're exploiting you for any goods or services that you can supply for them. It starts out in infatuation for everybody, and it starts out to some degree love bombing for everybody because you're putting your best foot forward, and you're doing that partially because if you were to tell anybody everything about you, you're kind of afraid. This is the deal. So a lot of people are in a new relationship or meeting somebody are kind of afraid. If they were to be themselves right away, you would push the person away. They wouldn't want to be with you. So they, in that high of the infatuation, you tend to ease into some of the things that went on in your life, but that's everybody. Everybody's going to do that. You're not lying, and it's just a natural thing. You're going to just be in the moment, try to get to know somebody. But the narcissist doesn't tell anybody anything, and they're already from the jump trying to control the narrative. And it's like pulling teeth to get them to have a conversation with you about anything because they don't want to disclose any information that might be useful to you. That's how they feel. And you're looked at as the enemy, and you're in competition with them. So that's how it starts out for the two different sides. And that's where they start to go right away down separate paths. But there's still a spirit of infatuation, which should lead to love, but it doesn't with the narcissist. When you get two narcissists together, again, it's going to be very similar to two empaths or something like that. The only difference is the conversation will be different. It'll probably be more on the side of haterade, promoting themselves because they're so great. So they're going to both tell each other how great their representative is, and they're going to praise each other. And then from there, it goes to everything surface because they can't have any intimate relationship conversation because they don't want to disclose any pertinent information that can be used against them later. So it ends up to where they don't talk at all. Over a short period of time, it becomes a lot of intercourse, and that's about it. And then from there, when the infatuation starts to bum out on you, then they devalue each other. But typically there's going to be two narcissists that are at different levels. You'll have like a lesser narcissist and a mid-range narcissist, or a mid-range narcissist and a greater narcissist, or something like that. One's going to be more superior than the other, and you're going to go based on how a narcissist views things, because in humanity we don't view things like that. Superiority, and I'm talking about their spiritual, their spiritual witchcraft darkness that they are, and how devious they can be. Which one catches on the fastest to understanding the other person that they're dating as a narcissist as well? The quickest one to jump on that and find out is probably going to be the greater narcissist of the bunch, and they're going to play them. They're going to trauma bond them. They're going to be the power and control over them. And it could be also the narcissist that's going to be the greater one. Typically you're going to find it, they have more money, so they're going to have more power, and they're going to abuse that power, that right to the power. They're going to be more well known than the other narcissist and have greater reach, and they're going to abuse that as well over them, just like they would an empath. And then they're going to be better with their manipulations, and better at their deceiving, better at their cheating, and their lies are going to be better, and they may even come off more empathic to the outside and to the narcissist that they're playing. And before you know it, they'll get trauma bonded to each other, because the narcissist gets trauma bonded as well, and they're addicted to that. They're trauma bonded through the energies of it. You know, everybody has a different kind of energy. They're insatiable. When they experience somebody else's energy, they keep everybody. So they're basically trauma bonded to everybody, and then they have these abandonment issues. So they are people hoarders. Basically, the narcissist that's greater is going to entrap the narcissist that's lesser, and they're going to get more information off them. They're going to be more sinister. So if it was a narcissist and an empath, right? Because that's what the lesser narcissist is probably going to think, because they're going to be duped into thinking they're with somebody empathic. So what the greater narcissist may do is get some recordings off of them, compromising recordings when they're having intercourse or whatever. Have some hidden cameras. They'll be taping some and recording some of the conversations they have, so they can use them against them. And they're going to both be smearing each other behind the scenes, right? Because they're both narcissists. But the other one's going to be in more competition, because the lesser narcissist thinks they're with an empath. So if the lesser narcissist thinks they're with an empath, they think they won the competition already. To where when a greater narcissist gets with a lesser narcissist, they know it's going to be a more of a challenge, because it's going to be one of their own they're fighting. And narcissists know they're all devious, and there's no end to how low they will go. So they will do things like that. They may even act like how a cult leader would. They may start to put substances in their drinks or their food. When it's a greater narcissist and a lesser narcissist, they will do whatever it takes to make sure that they have power over that individual, because they know how it works. So they're going to work extra hard and extra quick at doing it. And they're going to be extra devious because they caught on faster. They're unwilling to get played by anybody. And I would get that, but they move in devious ways to make sure they don't get played, and they do it out of extortion. That's not appropriate. I mean, nobody wants to get played is my point, but these people go into every situation playing the opposite. And so that's what happens with a greater and a lesser narcissist. They're going to also knock all their foundations out, just like they would with the empath. They're going to try to affect your health, your wealth, your job, your friends, your career, your mental status, everything. They're going to try to get to know your friends, and then they're going to have intercourse with them so they can dupe you and have stuff to hold over you. They may even get recordings of them in compromising positions, because then that falls also back on the lesser narcissist, because they were associated with them first. And the greater narcissist wouldn't care, because when they leave you, they act like they're never coming back. And that's how they feel. That's why they treat you so crappy too. So they'll just use you. And even if they are the greater narcissist and they do have more money, then they're still going to siphon all the money out of the lesser narcissist. So you may get the lesser narcissist and a greater narcissist, and a lesser one will have more money, and the greater one will be faking it. And they may get the lesser one to loan the money only to never get paid back, and then they'll trauma bond them. But there'll be a struggle there because they'll both be parasites and predators, so they're going to be basically fighting for the power and control. But the lesser one is going to be the one that's going to be more controlled than the greater. And they'll make them very jealous and everything. They'll do all of the stuff they do to you, and then they'll go out and smear their name faster. They'll break up with them. So the lesser narcissists having the opportunity to break up with them. The whole thing will happen. They'll get to a point where they don't talk during the middle end of the relationship because they don't trust each other. They'll both be snooping around and cheating on each other, and they'll both be catching each other doing it, and they'll get very jealous. They'll be snooping in each other's phones and all their equipment. Then they will get into fights with each other. Like, you get to where it gets aggressive and abusive physically, where the cops have to come. But in the very beginning, they start out by destroying the world together because, they both think the same. They both have demons. It's excellent in the very beginning because they're love bombing, they're getting to know each other, there's infatuation, and they're destroying the world together, and they see eye to eye. But they eventually can get caught up in criminal activity because they don't have an empath keep them grounded. And so if they get into something sinister, there is no end to the criminal activity that they will go to, because there's no stopping point, because they don't feel love. So they don't have any ethics. So they may continue until they end up both in prison. So that could happen as well. But they'll keep coming back. A lot of times you see a narcissist with a borderline, because a borderline is one that can feel a little bit of love, and they get heavily attached to people like narcissists in all of that abuse. So that's basically how that kind of stuff works. Thanks for watching. Until next time, so Jeff, peace be out.